Please excuse me, this is not the best formatted video, but I'm going to try to give you some quality information to suffice for the video being so choppy. So in this video, I'm going through transporting this container I bought in Miami up to Alabama, getting it lifted off the transport trailer, semi-trailer, onto the concrete pillar foundation I poured, which I showed you in the last video. And before we get into the crane, let's look at the finished Sonotube 18-inch Sonotube concrete foundation. And in this video, I'm also going to talk more about numbers. This foundation cost me approximately about $5,000 for material and everything. I did all the work myself, so it doesn't include labor, obviously, but that was for the concrete, the rebar, the sonotubes, etc. Rocks for the bottom, sonotube sand. So that is the cost of that. This is the foundation, obviously, but this was the day that I was getting my septic tank installed. So this is the septic tank installation here. The septic tank cost me $8,500 to install. I believe it's a 1,500 gallon. I have to look at the paperwork again, but that is the septic tank installation. Also, the crane weighed about 160,000 pounds that's being brought in to lift the container, and this is the road here. And I talked about in another video that culvert I put in, which cost me $800. So I bought these railroad ties so the crane would not crush the culvert. This is the truck that brought in the container, obviously, and unfortunately this truck got stuck about 3 times. It was quite a horrific experience. The crane operators got on site around 10:30 a.m. and we didn't get this thing dropped about 8:30 at night. So there was a lot of money spent, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. There was a lot of money spent trying to get this truck unstuck. So after I get through all the video footage with this on the back end, when I'm going through the pictures, I'm going to try to talk about what happened and how to avoid what I went through. But basically, this is the crane lifting up the container house. This is a 40-foot high cube container. Like I said, I paid for this in Miami, so it was already pre-built. Do I recommend pre-buying a container home? No, not really. This is just the situation I'm in, but and I'll talk about more in the video. I'll be building my own container house this in 2024 because I just think it's better to do it yourself. That's my personal opinion, but everybody has their own experience with it. So this is the container being lifted up. That's 160,000 pound crane, I believe I was told, lifting up the container, all terrain crane. And I want to thank God for these crane operators because they were the best. I think if it was anyone else, any type of operator, the job would not have got done. And I appreciate their patience because, like I said, they were coming from about 2 hours away to my site, and they stayed there till 8 o'clock at night, and they didn't really eat a whole bunch because the truck was blocking the road, so no one could really get in and out very easily. So this is the container lifted up and about to get dropped onto the sonotube concrete pillar foundation, and then that is the bulldozer about to drag him back all the way up to the road because he unfortunately kept getting stuck on the road, messed up my expensive road. So this is it, getting dropped down. So I just want to show you the process. The crane was supposed to cost me about $3,200 for the crane operation. But unfortunately, with the truck driver getting stuck and the overtime and the more time we spent there, the crane I think ended up costing me $5,300. I had to, the man that did all my clearing and grading and installed my septic tank, this is the finished product here. And when you see that, you can see right there, there's a gap on the left-hand side, is because on the left-hand side of the container, there's little shoes that sit up on the container that's have it like 2 feet off the foundation. So once I cut those boots off, the container will sit flush on the foundation. So when you see that gap there in the photo, that's what that is. But basically, as I was saying, the crane ended up costing me about $5,300, $2,000 more than what I was quoted due to the overtime. I had to call my backhoe guy to come out there. That was another $500 I paid him. Then his friend came out and brought the bulldozer because the bulldozer was the only thing that could really drag that truck like that and get it back up the hill. That was another $500. Um, and then also a wrecker was called because the truck wouldn't start. So he had to come and pump air into the truck so the truck would start back again because it ran out of air due to all the back and forth up and down on the hill. And, you know, the Volvos are very sensitive. So it just, and it was an automatic. So you could not put it in gear once it went out. So like everything that you can imagine that could go wrong pretty much went wrong. But hey, man, that's the life, man. And you just have to kind of deal with it, keep it moving, figure out how to bounce back. So like I said, extra 2,000 for the crane operator, extra 1,000 for the bulldozer and the backhoe. What else did I have to buy? I think I bought that something else cost me more money, but I'm saying $2,000-3,000. It goes like that. So it's just something to keep in mind. If I would do it again, this is how I would do it. I would have had the container brought up, delivered to the crane operator's yard, then have the crane operator company transport the container down to the property. Because then if the crane operator it gets his truck stuck, I don't think they're going to be able to charge you um, just hourly rate for them sitting there because their people are stuck. But when you hire an outside truck driver to come in and bring it in, he gets stuck. They have no liability or any way to, say, hey, yeah, we'll compensate you for the time because it's not their fault. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I would have did differently if I would have did it again. But all in all, it's all good. It's a learning lesson and it all worked out. And like I'm saying, even to go beyond that, I think it's better just to build the container on site. But I was going in a lot of different directions of what I was going to do with this container. And I wasn't originally going to be here in this area. So, and I talk about that in my first video with the zoning, but I ended up in Alabama due to the freedom of the zoning. So God bless Alabama. Thank you, Alabama. So I'm also going to go through some inside pictures here of the container as we're talking so you can see the finished product. I'm not going to mention the builder. He was terrible. The worst building experience of my life, and I've been in buildings for 10, 15 years now. And you're also probably wondering why I have 12 pillars for the foundation of my container home, as you can see in some of the photos. And that's really because in the next 6 months or so, I'm going to build a double wide 40-foot container, excuse me. So I have the 12 pillars there because I will be having two containers side by side here in the future. And I'm going to take the existing container house I have here and move it on another part of the property and most likely rent it out or have it as a guest house. So that is why I have a 12 pillar foundation, because I'm going to be building at least a double 40-foot high cube container house. I would love to get some 45-foot containers, but that's always a little tricky. So hey man, that's my recommendations. Keep it simple. Try to build it yourself. Try to do it yourself. If you do get it built on site, just have your crane guys come out to make sure they have access to decent access to the property. Me, I used to be a truck driver, so I know a lot about truck driving. So when I was creating the road, I was keeping the truck driver in mind. That's what the whole purpose of us doing the road was, to make it accessible for heavy equipment to get in there without getting stuck, even though that didn't happen. But you know, everybody driver's driving ability is different. If I would have drove the truck, and I'm gonna keep it honest with you guys, the truck driver got stuck so many times, the crane operator actually hopped in the truck and started backing the truck down for him because he used to drive trucks. And it was funny because me and the crane operator were talking. I said, hey, man, I'm about to hop in his truck. But he was like, man, no, just wait, man. I'm not trying to embarrass the man. I ain't trying to make him seem like he can't drive. But, you know, everybody had got so fed up by, like I said, the truck got there at 11 o'clock. So by like 3, 4, 5 o'clock, people getting a little frustrated, like trying to figure out how do we get this guy unstuck for the third, fourth time. And it's just a mess. But I want to thank God for just everybody that came and made it work. Because at the end of the day, everybody made it work. The truck driver, he came, he did what he had to do. The backhoe operator did what he had to do. The crane guy did what he had. So everybody did what they had to do and play the position. And man, teamwork makes the dream work. So that's what happened there. So hey man, this is the ups and downs. I know a lot of these other YouTube pages ain't gonna talk about what really happens when you're really out here building, and mistakes happen and how much they cost, because you know a lot of people, they just, it's like everything's good all the time every time, but man, that ain't how I go, man. So stay on your toes, pre-plan this thing out, have people come look at it, and let me mention this too, before the truck driver even pulled down the street, I had him, I went and picked him up. He was like 2 blocks away, and I had him come down there. And I said, "Hey, man, you think you can make it back here? You feel all right?" He walked the whole property, everything. Oh man, yeah, everything's good. Yeah, all right, I could do it. And then, like I said, he got stuck. But it's all good, man. I ain't trying to rain on his parade. And actually, the broker did offer to give me a concession on the load, but I don't know. I guess I'm just too nice, because I'm like, man, like I said, the crane alone cost me an extra 2 grand. Oh, excuse me. Let me go through those numbers too. The transportation of the container from Miami to Alabama was $2,500. And they said they would have given me a concession, but it's like, hey, I spent an extra $2,000 on the crane and $1,000 for the equipment. So what you did? What you're gonna give me all my money back for the transportation, and then what the driver gets paid nothing? So I don't know. Hey man, you tell me what you think is fair. I don't really know, man. I just did what I know how fast I can make the money back. So that's all I had in my mind. Man, stay on your grind, and behind that, man, you're gonna shine, and it's gonna come together, man. So that's all I kept telling myself. And hey, at the end of the day, the container got set. So I'm grateful for that, man. Give thanks. I'll check you on the next video with the more progress of what's happening out here, man.